Tina, how you doing?
Good. How are
Uh,
you?
I'm doing good. It's exciting to have you here today.
I'm
For
excited to be
anyone
here.
for anyone who doesn't know, Tina's last name is LaRosa. She's my cousin, a very talented cousin. We've been in. She was in a film I directed, and she acted in called Clandestine. Back then, she was uh, you know, little actress of how old were you? I think 6.
7, I think. Oh,
Okay.
6.
Yeah.
Somewhere around there.
Yeah. So Tina did a great job. And now, recently, Tina has been getting into doing music, writing her own music, singing her own music. And it's very, very exciting. I didn't even know what was going on. And I saw a video and I said, wow, that's great. So I wanted to have you on. I think you have a lot of talent. And I think you're doing a great job. Um, what, I'm curious to start. What got you into writing and singing your own music? Because I never even knew you were doing that.
Well, it was I think it was about a year ago I started writing music, and it was just a couple months earlier than that I started playing ukulele, and I got really into it. And one day I just decided to write a Christmas song. That's what it started out with. And my I showed it to my dad. I just did it for fun, but
Mhm.
I showed it to my dad, and he was just so blown away by it. I didn't know why, but um, apparently, to him, it was really good. So he showed it to everybody, like my teachers, our family, just everybody. And then one day, I I'm actually gonna play this song later, but one day I went to school, and my music teacher pulled me aside and told me to write a song for our spring concert because he wanted me to perform one of my songs because he liked the Christmas song so much. And I was just I was just blown away by that because I didn't know that people would like it that much to the point where they would want me to keep going. And so I wrote the song, which is Perspective. And the that afternoon when I got home, I wrote the song. And then I think ever since, I've just been writing music. And after my mom passed away, it was an amazing outlet to deal with all of my emotions, just with anything that I go through. And I'm I'm just really passionate about it,
Oh,
and
that's
it's
great.
super fun.
So the music gives you a an outlet, like you said, to kind of express your thoughts, your feelings. So instead of keeping it all bottled up, you're able to put it into something and share it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. I mean, a lot of people, that's what they love about creative and artistic things is they sometimes can take their own, you know, things that are challenging them in their day to day, and then put it out there, and it kind of helps them. It's almost like a form of therapy. Like
Yeah.
I don't know if you know, Steven Spielberg did that with Jaws. He had a fear of water and sharks, so
Really.
he decided he wanted to direct Jaws. Um, and share that fear with all of us. So now we all have it every time we look at the ocean. So it's what would you say? You shared a little bit of it, but what would you say your creative process is? Like, what makes you decide you want to write a certain song? Like, what inspires you? Is it just like you hear something, you're thinking something, something pops in your head?
Um, I think it's a little different every time, but a similar thing that happens every time is once I get an idea, I think it just kind of comes to me randomly. But when I get an idea that I know I want to write a song about, I get this bubbly feeling in my stomach, and I feel super inspired. So usually I just write something down, or if I'm home, I run up to my room and start playing through chords, and then start thinking of words to come to mind, and it usually just flows out. I don't even know how else to explain it. It's like it writes itself almost.
Oh, that's cool. That's very cool. So it's a lot of inspiration. You just feel inspired to do it.
Yeah.
Now, I'm really interested in knowing, when did you teach yourself chords and guitar playing? When and how did you do that?
Um, yeah, I don't remember exactly when. I know it was like at least a year ago. I just looked up. I watched videos at first. I started off by watching tutorials, and then once I got used to like the basic chords, I just looked up songs, just any song, and seeing if I knew the chords. And it, there's this website. It's called like Uku Tabs. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it, but um, it basically has like diagrams of the chords, and I just I personally I found it wasn't difficult once I really got into it, but it was just fun, and I I just practiced a lot, and eventually it just became easier and easier,
How
and
long did
there's
it
more
take
freedom.
you, would you say, before you felt really comfortable doing all that? Was it a couple of months? Was it?
Um, I feel like I started to feel comfortable with playing probably like after a little over half a year,
Hmm.
which it seems fast, but to me it felt like it wasn't. And I feel like I've been playing for forever.
Yeah. Well, that's really good. That's great. Um, so is there a someone who's helping you with all this music, composing, producing it for you, and uh,
Yeah,
yeah, who's that?
my brother, he's been trying to mix it all together, and we're actually, I don't know if we're gonna re-release it more produced, but we're releasing it acoustically first because we decided we need a little more time and we would rather have it out earlier, and then we could always put it out again or just have the second album be have more like instruments and all that. But he still mixed it together and made it sound nice. So
Yeah, that's great. And what made you guys want to work together? Just you get along, obviously, right?
um
Sometimes, right?
it yeah, most of the time I think we get along pretty well.
Yeah.
um it was actually my dad's idea. I came home from school. It's always when I come home from school. I don't know. I came home and we sat down to eat dinner, and my dad just proposed an idea. He's like, "How would you like to make an album?" I was like, "What?" And then he's like, "Yeah, James is he's really into he's really into like the tech side of music, and you're into the songwriting. It's the perfect combination. Why don't you try to work together and make something?" So I was like, "I love that idea," and we just kind of did it.
So, how do you and your brother James deal with? Do you guys have disagreements sometimes about how a song should sound? How do you, how do you guys then work together? Because that's the purpose of this podcast, is to discuss people, creative people who have differences, and then find a way of working through the difference. So, how do you guys do that?
I think we the thing is we both have very different tastes in music, I think. So that kind of causes us to run into a little bit of a problem, but not too much. But the thing we mainly have to do, and we have to remember, is um, like we just kind of have to set aside what we personally think and just kind of combine our ideas and see what would be best in general, if that makes sense.
So you guys kind of realize you're working towards a singular goal. You're trying to get to one place,
Exactly.
and you just keep that in mind, and you work towards finding that similar place that you're both trying to get to, and agree that that's at the end of the day the most important thing.
Yes.
Okay, good. Well, that's a good way of doing it. A lot of people, a lot of adults could use that strategy. So, Tina is going to do her first song for us, called "Perspective." Whenever you're ready, Tina, and then we'll talk a little bit about it.
Okay.
So, whenever you're ready.
Okay, that's not the chords. You don't have to cry, even though it's hard. You'll make it if you try. You'll just have a few scars. It's not impossible to get out of where you are. Just take my hand, I'll lead the way, 'cause I can't made it this far. Take that frown right off your face, 'cause this is not a sad song. It's just all about your perspective, and right now you're in a bad one. Just take some time to let yourself get better. I know it's scary, but this pain is not forever. It may take a while, but in the end you'll have a smile. Just take a day at a time to get yourself through this climb. Yeah, keep good thoughts in mind to get yourself to the finish line. Just remember that I'll always be here for you in the cold of December, or even the sunny days of June. 'Cause things are foggy now, my dear, so try to hope to steer you clear and give your life some light until your perspective's right.
That's great. Very, very nice. Very nice song. Sounds good. I like,
Thank you.
you have like a real, almost like folk sound to a lot of your music. I don't know. Is that what you're going for?
No, I'm not really sure. I was kind of in between folk and like indie pop,
Mm-hmm.
just kind of in between those two.
Yeah. Now, what's that song about?
That song's just kind of about just getting through the hard times, no matter how hard they may seem, and no matter how difficult the future, like difficult. Sorry, I'm just gonna try to rephrase that. And no matter how hard it may seem to get out of it, you will get out of it, and everything will be okay. And it may seem like everything is out of control, and I even say that things seem foggy, but you can clear it away and you will get through it. That's it's kind of that song was kind of me talking to myself about everything that I was going through with the loss of my mom, and just kind of try to be like a guide to myself. And because when you're going through something hard, of course you have other people to help you through the situation, but it's most important that you're there for yourself.
Yeah, that's very true. I was going to ask you what inspired you to write that song, but you told me. So, and what was the name of that one again?
Perspective, that's the one that
Pers- Okay,
my
perspective.
music teacher asked me to write. Yeah.
Oh, it's very nice. I like it a lot. So,
Thank you.
so let's do your next song. All right. And
Okay.
what do you want to? What's the next one up? What do you want to play?
Love and Life.
Okay.
Okay. Right. Just get prepared. Okay. Close your eyes, rest your head, get some sleep, just lie in bed. And I know you'll be just fine, 'cause I'm by your side. I'll have sweet dreams, dreams of peace, and all my hopes for greater things. And I know I'll be alright, 'cause you're by my side. Life has ups and downs, but when I'm with you, I always feel safe and sound. And I hope you feel the same, 'cause when I'm with you, there's no pain. when I'm with you, I'm my best. Thank God for you, I feel so blessed. I love loving life when you're by my side. It's all I can ever do. 'Cause I love loving life when I'm next to you. I love loving life when I'm next to you. Close your eyes, rest your head, get some sleep, just lie in bed. And I know you'll be just fine, 'cause I'm by your side. 'Cause I love loving life when you're by my side.
That's another great one. I like it. Now,
Thank you.
what's that one about?
That one's kind of about how just life is so much greater when you're around great people. And I had my sister in mind actually writing this song because I wrote this around the time when I think it was quarantine had just started. And I noticed that I was starting to get closer with my sister, and I really loved having her around. And just, I noticed that I loved loving life when I was around her. And I feel that way with my whole family, but I definitely had my sister in mind when writing the song.
That's nice. So quarantine brought you guys closer.
Definitely.
Okay. Well, that's nice. Let's see. There's a lot of positives that have happened with quarantine. Even though there's been a lot of bad things, there's also been a lot of positives. And I think people who have been open to having their friendships and their family relationships grow closer have had those opportunities. And you wrote a song about it.
Yeah.
So that's fantastic. How long does it usually take you to write your songs? Is it happen quick, or is it a longer process?
Well, I feel like I don't know exactly how long because usually I'm not super close to my phone when I'm writing, but so I'm not really checking the time, but I feel like at least it feels like it's usually like 30 minutes max. I just do it like one sitting. I think it's probably closer to like 15 minutes um, with the song,
Okay.
like including like going over it and seeing if I want to change anything.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's
And
just
then
me though.
you go back and revisit it later sometimes, and edit it and change it or tweak it, or
Yeah, yeah,
okay. So you get like the main song down, and then you say, okay, I'm happy with this general feel, or this general thing I'm going for, this general vibe, and then you go back and you play around with it and tweak it later.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Cool. So let's hear another one. What else do you have?
A song called Lunchroom.
Whenever you're ready.
I'm getting lonely, just sitting here. I have some friends, but I haven't seen them in a year. I miss the lunchroom and all our laughs. And it's crazy to think how long it's been, how much time has passed since then. And when will we ever get to have that again? If we do, I'll run to you and never take it for granted, 'cause now I understand. I miss the lunchroom and all our laughs. There's nothing that I wouldn't do to get it all back. Things were so simple, life was at ease. We'd smile and run through the grass, taking in the breeze. create what we now all sadly lack, and we'll get it back. I know we will, and if we don't, we'll have new memories to fill. Although I miss the lunchroom and all our laughs, I won't let this time go to waste by feeling bad. I miss the lunchroom and all we had, but I won't spend my nights crying, 'cause at least we're staying in contact. So I've been getting lonely just sitting here. So I'm gonna get up and make the most of it, or wipe off my tears. I miss the lunchroom, but no need to cry, 'cause one day it'll all be worth it when we reunite. It's alright.
That was very nice. Thank you. I think
Thank you.
that song's very interesting. I'm assuming that has been written during quarantine.
Yeah.
So, it brings me to an interesting point. How are your friends and yourself dealing with the quarantine and not seeing everybody? Back in the day when, your father and I were kids, we didn't have cell phones, we didn't have Zoom. You had a telephone, that was about it. And a lot of time you didn't even have call waiting, so someone would call and you get a busy signal. So, um, there were dinosaurs outside. It was ancient times. It was crazy. So, but how people in your generation handling the quarantine? Is it lonely? Is it okay because you have this technology?
Well, I think it's definitely better that we have the technology, because I don't know what I would do if I wasn't able to talk to my friends at all, because I still like text them, and sometimes we call, which I really like, because it's not the same, of course, but it's kind of like we could still kind of stay in contact. But it's still hard, and it's still lonely, and sometimes we get like busy, and then we just don't talk for a couple of days or weeks even, and it gets sad, but we're doing the best we can.
Yeah, and everyone feels the same way out of your friends. Everyone feels like it's kind of difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's true. The technology helps everyone to stay in touch, and because otherwise it would be you can't even hang out with your friends. It's not like a snow day, where everyone
Yeah.
would, hey, it's a snow day, let's go hang out. It's literally, you have to keep a distance from people. So, so when was the last time you've seen most of your friends? Was it a year ago, or have you guys been able to social distance and hang out?
I haven't seen them since school went out.
Really? So March of 2020 was the last time you saw them in person?
Yeah.
Wow, that's a long time. That's a long time. So, and has your school given you any ideas about when you might be going back in for school, or they just haven't told you yet?
Well, my school is doing hybrid, but I'm just doing full virtual because I'm more comfortable with that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
Yeah, that's
So
understandable. That's understandable. So, so we're gonna do our final song here. Then I'll have a couple questions for you after that. But do you have an idea which one you'd like to play?
yeah, I was gonna play glass half full.
Okay.
Times get tough, but I think it's understood that without a little rain, the sun just wouldn't feel as good. I myself have been a lot of bad, but I wouldn't be so happy if I never felt so sad. No, I never go back in a million years. I never stop myself from crying all those trillions of tears. Cause I know, that life is so much better as a glass half full. If you choose to view the world poorly, just switch your views around and it will be better surely. It's always nicer to be optimistic, because if you don't, you will drive yourself ballistic. No, I never go back in a million years. I never stop myself from crying all those trillions of tears. Cause I know, that life is so much better as a glass half full. You may not agree with me, but if you don't, then I sure hope that you can open up and see. Life's so sad as a glass half empty. Let me fill your cup, because darling, I have plenty. No, I never go back in a million years. I never stop myself from crying all those trillions of tears. Cause I know, that life is so much better as a glass half full.
It's very nice. I like that one. I like that one too. And that's
Thank
glass.
you.
Glass is half full. That's the name, right?
Yeah, glass half full.
Okay, cool. I like that. Yeah, I saw. I thought you said Gossip Girl, and then
No, no.
yeah. No, that's a very nice one. Well, now so what's that song about? What's going on for you with that one?
That one is just about optimism and having a positive mindset. And it's basically, glass half full is the idea of being optimistic and how you can take any situation and find the light of it. And life is just better when you're optimistic.
It is, and that's an important lesson to learn. I mean, you're 15, and you're already learning that it's better to have a positive outlook about things than a negative. And would have been some instances in your life when you've just had a negative outlook. Have things turned out good in those moments, or have you found that the negative doesn't really help? And I mean, obviously, you've experienced uh, something where you felt like, hey, it's just better to be positive than be negative. So, what were those moments where something, you kind of clicked out of feeling negative and felt positive?
Hmm. I'd, I'd probably just say, like, the whole idea of quarantine and
Hmm.
how we're being trapped inside for months and months on end. And you could look at that and say, like, our whole lives are being held on, like, hold on, I can't rephrase that. You could look at that and think that all of our lives are on hold. But the better way to look at it, in my opinion, and the way I've been looking at it, is that there's still so much you could do with it, and there's only so much you can do. So it's best to just do as much as you can. And I've been writing all this music, and so I personally don't think that all of this is just a waste of our lives, because I think it's helped us a lot through many things, and some we're not even aware of that it's helping us. But I think it's something that's very important to know, to try to do, in especially I can't speak today, especially in times like these, where you just you just have to try your best to look at things in the best way possible, because I mean, why would you do anything else? I mean,
Yeah.
it's a hard enough time already. You
Hmm.
might as well look at it in a good way.
Yeah. Well, life is always going to throw everybody challenges, regardless of who you are, where you come from, who you believe in, who you voted for, what family you come from, how rich you are, how poor you are. there's always going to be challenges, and there's always going to be things that are difficult for anybody to deal with. And it's, you either can, and there's no escaping that. That's the reality we live in, the reality of duality, where there's good and bad, there's a day and a night, all that, a sun and a moon, right? And
Yeah.
but when you have that outlook that there is, you're going to experience those bad things, but they may lead to positive things. Like, look at you with this, with the quarantine, right? You have
Yeah.
decided through quarantine, I'm going to make sure my glass is half full, and I'm going to learn music at the age of 15 and teach myself ukulele and chords. And I wanted to learn guitar for years, and I've never done it because I always felt like it was impossible. And here you are, just kind of sitting down going, "Well, I think I'm just going to learn this because I have this inspiration to create," which is awesome. It really is. And I think that's something you really should be
Thank you.
I'm excited for you. I know I'm your cousin, so I'm of course biased, but you know, having seen you, when we first were filming Clandestine and you were a little uncomfortable, in the kitchen, that first scene we had to do.
Oh, yeah.
Um, but then you warmed up and you did a great job, and then that scene at the end where when you got hugged and his badge or his gun was jabbing you in your ribs, and
Yeah. I remember that.
we heard this little noise of, and but you kept there in that moment, and then we said to you later on, and you were right, and you're like, yeah, no, his gun was jabbing me in my ribs. I said, well, how much did that hurt? And you're like, it hurt a lot, but I just figured I would keep on going. And you were 7 years old. It was hysterical. Um, I have that somewhere in the raw footage. I have to see if I can find it. Um, but anyway, so yeah, I'm really proud of you. I love what you've done. I love how you have had some challenges over the years, right? And you have just managed to say, and it's a perfect song to end on, that you want to find that the glass is half full, and that you want to find the positive and the constructive, and that's it. And the sky's the limit when you're open to doing that. You invite a lot of really great things into your life, and I'm excited for you, and I'm excited to see what those things are going to be.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. So I want to thank you for coming on tonight. This was a lot of fun.
Thank you for having me. It was very fun.
Yeah, no, I was excited to have you on, and I was excited that you're interested in doing it. And I'm excited to put it up, and continue to share the music you're doing, and everything else you got going on. So yeah, but anyway, thank you very much for doing this today.
Thank
And
you.
yeah, absolutely. And we'll talk soon. Okay.
Sounds good.
All right. I'll talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye bye.